There's a powder called iron sulfate you can buy for about $5 that kills nearly every broadleaf weed in your lawn and makes your grass greener at the same time. Dandelions, clover, plantain, chickweed, all of them dead within 48 hours, and the grass around them ends up darker, thicker, and healthier than it was before. This isn't a trick or a gimmick. It's plant biology, and once you understand why it works, you'll never overpay for weed killer again. But please don't run out and start spraying just yet. If you get the concentration wrong or skip one important rule, you can actually stress your lawn. So stick with me for the next few minutes, and I'll walk you through the science, the exact recipe, and the mistakes to avoid. Here's the thing most people get wrong. Killing weeds is easy. Boiling water kills weeds, vinegar kills weeds, even salt kills weeds. The hard part is killing the weeds without killing the grass around them, and that's what makes selective weed control so tricky and so expensive. Most selective weed killers either kill everything they touch, which means you're crouching down, treating one weed at a time, or they use synthetic chemicals like 2,4-D or dicamba that cost $20 to $40 a bottle. But there's a third option that's been around for over a century, and groundskeepers on golf courses have used it quietly for decades. It's called iron sulfate. You might also see it labeled ferrous sulfate or sold as moss killer or lawn iron at the garden center. It's the same cheap, powerful powder, just a different name on the bag. Here's how it works, and this is the part I love. When you dissolve iron sulfate in water and apply it as a foliar spray across your lawn, two things happen at once. First, the broadleaf weeds have wide, flat leaves. Dandelions, clover, plantain, they soak up the iron solution like a sponge, absorbing a huge dose all at once through foliar absorption. At that concentration, the iron overwhelms them, and within a day or two they turn black and die. Second, your grass is completely different. Grass blades are narrow and upright, with far less surface area, so they only absorb a little iron, and that small amount actually feeds them. Iron is essential for chlorophyll, which meant that instead of dying, your grass turns a deeper, richer green. Same spray, opposite results. That's the whole secret. And unlike synthetic herbicides containing 2,4-D or dicamba, iron sulfate works through this purely mineral mechanism, which is why it's been trusted on golf course turf for generations. Now, a quick note on grass types. This works beautifully on cool season grasses like Kentucky bluegrass and fescue, as well as warm season varieties like Bermuda and zoysia. Basically, if it's lawn grass, the narrow blade structure protects it. That's biology, not brand. So let's talk about how to apply it, because the ratio really matters. The formula is simple. 1 cup of iron sulfate per gallon of water, which works out to roughly 35 grams per liter, or about 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet if you prefer standard turf measurements. Stir it until it fully dissolves and the water turns a dark amber color with no powder left sitting at the bottom. 1 gallon covers roughly 200 to 300 square feet, so for a typical front yard, you'll want 3 or 4 gallons. Pour it into a pump sprayer rather than a hose end sprayer, because you need control over the concentration. Set the nozzle to a fine mist and walk slowly across the lawn in even sweeps. If it's a breezy day, wait, because drift onto concrete or garden beds will stain both, and you want the solution landing exactly where you intend. And here's the beauty of it. You don't target individual weeds. You spray the whole lawn, The weeds die, the grass thrives, and you're done in about 10 minutes. Now let me pause for a second, because if you've been spending $30 or $40 a year on weed killer and you're still fighting dandelions every spring, this is exactly why. Subscribe, and I'll keep showing you what actually works, not what the industry wants you to buy. And tell me in the comments, what weed is driving you crazy right now? Dandelions? Clover? I read every single one. Timing makes a big difference too. Apply in the early morning or late evening, never in the heat of the day, because the solution needs time to sit on the leaves and absorb before it evaporates. Morning is ideal, since the dew helps it stick. And here's the critical rule: don't water your lawn for at least 24 hours afterward. No sprinklers, and if rain is in the forecast, wait. If you wash the solution off too soon, the weeds survive. Within 24 hours, you'll see the first signs. Dandelion leaves curl and blacken at the edges, and clover gets dark spots and starts to wilt. By 48 hours, most of the broadleaf weeds are dead or dying, and your grass is already looking greener. One application handles most weeds. For a heavy infestation, you can do a second one 2 weeks later, but never more than 3 times a season. Too much iron lowers your soil pH over time, and that creates a whole new set of problems. Now let me be honest about what iron sulfate won't do, because I'd rather you know that up front. It's a post-emergent solution, meaning it handles weeds that are already up and growing. It's not a pre-emergent, so it won't stop weed seeds from germinating. It's fantastic on broadleaf weeds, but it does not reliably kill grassy weeds like crabgrass or quackgrass, because biologically they're just too similar to your lawn. If crabgrass is your main problem, you'll need a different approach, and I'll cover that in a future video. As a bonus, though, it destroys moss. Moss is extremely sensitive to iron, so if you've got a shady, mossy patch that comes back every spring, this is your answer. A couple of quick warnings before you start. First, wear old clothes, gloves, and eye protection while you work, and keep the spray off skin. That's your basic PPE for any foliar application. And it matters here because iron sulfate stains everything: concrete, pavers, clothes, and skin. Keep the spray off your driveway and patio, and if it does splash, rinse it immediately. Second, keep pets and kids off the lawn until it's fully dried, usually 2 to 3 hours. Once it's dry, it's perfectly safe. So, let's put the value in perspective. A branded selective weed killer runs you $30 or $40 and often needs repeat applications. Professional turf managers sometimes step up to chelated iron products for precision results, but for home use, basic ferrous sulfate gives you 90% of the results at 10% of the cost. A 5-pound bag costs about the same as a cup of coffee, and it lasts an entire season, just a couple of pennies per spray. Same result, a fraction of the price, and your grass ends up healthier instead of scorched. One last thing, and it's the most important. Iron sulfate kills the weeds that are there now, but it doesn't stop new ones from showing up. The real long-term answer is a thick, dense, healthy lawn that leaves weeds no room to grow, and that's exactly what we're building here, one video at a time. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a comment telling me your worst weed right now. See you in the next one.